Hey everybody, for this project thought it would be great to create and render this really cool 3D bracelet and print it if possible on the 3D printer. This is a pretty simple project and it's built up from a torus, and it only takes a few minutes, so let's get started. If I say File New, reload startup file here, this is what you see when you begin the entire program here. Notice just some basic things. This is the camera position. This is the light source here. It opens with this basic cube. It's got this outlining in orange, which indicates that it's selected. And we have X, Y, and Z. This blue is the Z axis, and this is the control point at the very center of the X and Y axis, okay, which would be X and Y this way, okay? Now, in addition to being able to move the object in these 3 dimensions, we can zoom in on it by using your scroll wheel. And then when you press down on the scroll wheel and click and drag, you can navigate around it. Okay? So, what we're going to do, since it's selected here, is to delete it. Just hit the delete button, say OK. And in the upper left here, we have this bunch of tools. So click on the Create tab, and then click torus, and there it puts the torus straight into the middle here. Okay. Now, before I do anything to it, I want to make some changes to it, and the how many segments it has and what its dimensions are. These are only available at this moment when we first create the object. As soon as we start editing it or changing it, it's going to go away and then we'll have trouble finding it again. So we want to change this here. Major segments, instead of 48, let's make that 64. And minor segments, let's make that 24. Oops. 24, okay. Very good. In terms of the major radius, what that means is it's the distance from the center point to this inside edge. If we leave that at 1, I think it's a better proportion if we take the minor radius, which is how thick the torus is, down a bit, say to 22. That's probably good. Right there. Okay. So first thing we want to do is modify this and create different facets on the plane here, on the surface of the torus. So modifiers are up here in this menu in the upper right here. The camera is the rendering. This wrench here is our modifiers, and when we add a modifier, what we want to do is decimate. So click that, and we want to give it a value of 1 after we click this middle button, unsubdivide iterations 1. And notice how that broke up the surface into diagonal faces like this, little diamonds. Okay. So yours should be 1 iteration. We should see 768 total faces on this torus. Next, down here in object mode, you're going to take that and go into edit, and we're going to deselect by hitting the letter A. Okay. A selects, this deselects. Guess what? I didn't apply the this modifier, so I better go back here. by hitting Control Z. Boy, let me pause here so I can go back. So I went back into object mode here. It was in edit mode, object mode, and now I'm just going to click apply, and that dialog box goes away. Okay, so now I want to go into edit mode, and great, we still have our vertices like this. If you hit the number 1, that'll give us this front orthographic perspective. That was number 1 on the keypad. And zooming in a little bit, I'm going to click here on the edit mode at the bottom. Notice these 3 boxes. The first one is a vertex, the next one is an edge, and the third is face. So click face, and notice all the faces have these little dots on it now. And then right click a center face like this, and holding down Shift and Alt, right click this edge right here, okay, and see what just happened. Okay, and then we're going to go and do the opposite over here and create this really cool ribbon that zigzags around the torus here. Okay, see that? Next, what we want to do is inverse the selection so that what's selected are the inside ones that are not selected right now. So hit Control I, and then we're going to delete them. So next, delete button, and we're going to delete the faces here. So click that. Great. So this is starting to look pretty cool. Next, we want to modify the thicknesses in here. So over here under Tools, click the Tools tab. We're going to smooth the vertexes. So let's see, what we do is let's select all, Control, or just A, and I want to click vertexes, the first button here, and then click Smooth Vertex 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and that gives us really interesting thick and thin elements here. See how that gets more fluid and more dynamic that way. Now we go back to object mode at the bottom, and what we want to do is give this some thickness. Right now it's just paper thin, if that. So we need a modifier for that again. So I'm going to click the wrench, add modifier, and this time it's solidify. Okay, and you're just going to kind of right here, this top one right under the apply button, dial that up till it starts to look like it has a decent thickness. In this case, that looks pretty good to me. I gave it 0.0190, maybe a touch more. There, 0200. And next we want to smooth out the edges even further with another modifier. So let me hit apply to that one. Click the wrench. Nope, it's already out. Add modifier. And that's Subdivision Surface. See, automatically this subdivided down like a fractal, and if I dial that up to 2, one more to 3, because we're going to print this, see how beautifully smooth this just became. Okay, so that's more or less it. I think we could stretch this up a little bit, give it a little bit a higher dimension. So we're going to scale this, and the shortcut is the letter S, and we want to pull up the Z-axis. So hit the letter S and then immediately the letter Z, and then drag this up a little bit. There we go. And that's pretty much it. The letter A to deselect, and we're ready to save this out. As an STL file ready for 3D printing. One other little thing that I did that I started the video with is I I did a quick render on this in the default value, so I'm going to hit this camera right here, and I have the dimension set to HD TV, which is 1080 pixels across, and if I just hit the F12 key, it renders it. Oh, I thought it would be bigger, but nevertheless, so that adds a smoother surface like it's going to look when it's printed in the real world. And it's casting shadows from the light source, and it's given us a certain camera angle. So as I zoom in, it gets a little pixely, but anyway, I thought it would render it at a higher level. Anyway, that's it. See you later.